What's up, guys? We are back from the All-Star break with a full slate of MLB action here on Friday, July 19th. It's going to be interesting to see how the teams in the MLB look getting back to work after the break, so let's dive in and do some research. But before we get into the games, guys, do me a big favor and hit that like button. It's a great way to show some support for the channel and all the work we put in every single day. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. It's 100% free and can keep you from missing out on these picks. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and join our free email list and check out our top confidence plays on all the major sports. Comment below with all the bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We respond to absolutely every single comment, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our final picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Arizona Diamondbacks going on the road to take on the Chicago Cubs. The Diamondbacks come into this game obviously fresh off the All-Star break. They ended their first part of the season with a loss to the Toronto Blue Jays, but they did win 2 out of 3 in that series and had won 4 out of their last 5 overall heading into the break. Obviously, we're not going to take that a crazy amount into consideration. Something kind of annoying about this game in particular is we don't have a confirmed starter yet for the Diamondbacks, which is kind of weird. We'll see who they actually end up running out there. This team hasn't had the best luck in terms of starting pitching this season. I mean, they're 13th in the majors in quality starts, 26th in the majors in total earned run average, like across the board, and they're allowing an opponent's batting average of 262, which is 29th in the majors. So not a lot of amazing things to say about this pitching staff. I mean, generally speaking, just not a pitching staff that's great. I mean, they're towards the bottom of the MLB in total bullpen ERA as well, with a bullpen ERA of 4.30. So definitely some concerns to look at there. On the other hand, guys, this has been a great hitting team this season. Definitely one of the better offenses in the majors. They're top 10 in all the major statistical categories. They're second in the majors in runs scored, 7th in the majors batting .254 as a team. They're 5th in the majors in on-base percentage. They're 9th in the majors in slugging percentage. They went into the All-Star break, guys. They had scored 7, 12, 5, 1, and 7 runs respectively in the few games before that. So we'll see how they get back after it out here going up against the Chicago Cubs, who come into this game fresh off of a win. They've split a 4-game series there at St. Louis, so I guess that's not terrible for them. They haven't been having a great time this year. They're currently in last place in the NL Central with a 47-51 record overall. Reports are saying they're going to be handing the ball in this game to Justin Steele, who's 2-3 this year with a 2.71 ERA. He's coming off of a fantastic start against the Orioles, guys. He went 7 innings, gave up 3 hits and no runs. He walked 0 in that game and struck out 4. He's been really, really good. The Cubs are 4-1 over his last 5 games. So yeah, a lot of positives to report right here for Justin Steele. He hasn't faced the Diamondbacks yet this season, so nothing to glean from that, but just in general, he's a pitcher that we're fairly high on right now, so we'll definitely take that. The Cubs bullpen overall hasn't been terrible. They've been pretty average over the course of the season, a bullpen ERA of right around 4, so that will definitely work. The question for this team has been whether or not they're going to be able to put up runs. I mean, they're pretty middle of the pack, guys. I mean, they're 16th in the majors in runs scored, 13th in the majors in on-base percentage. They're batting .235 as a squad, which is clearly in the bottom third of the league. That's not great. Slugging percentage of around .382, so I mean, not ideal there. Over the last few games, they did have some decent ones against the Cardinals, but I mean, they scored 8, 4, 3, and 5 runs respectively in that series, and not like the Cardinals are the toughest opponent, so not super high on them offensively. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Diamondbacks at -112. We see the Cubs at +107. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game, so the odds makers definitely expecting offense to be at a premium in this one. The Diamondbacks are only 23-24 on the road, which, that's fine, not that bad of a road record. The Cubs are 25-21 at home, so that's pretty respectable. They're a bit better at home than they are on the road, which is kind of what you would expect. Neither team showing huge trends towards the over-under. That over-under of 7.5 isn't what I'm super interested in, and I'm going to have to see a confirmed starter for this game before I put either one of these anywhere near the pinned comment. I mean, looking at the numbers, and since Justin Steele is going to be on the mound, getting the Cubs at plus money does seem slightly appealing, but like I said, we got to wait and see who the Diamondbacks are going to trot out there before we decide whether we're going to be taking this game for real or not. Next on the docket, guys, we have the Philadelphia Phillies going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Phillies come into this game, didn't go into the All-Star break great. They seemed very ready to, get into the All-Star week festivities. They lost 18-3 to the Oakland A's in the last game before the All-Star break. So not great stuff there, but at 62-34 on the season, they're absolutely cruising along. They're in first place in the NL East with a comfortable 8.5 game cushion there over the Atlanta Braves. They're going to be handing the ball to Aaron Nola in this game. He's 11-4 this year with a 3.38 ERA. He's coming off a very good start against the Dodgers. We do see that the Phillies won 4 out of his last 5 starts, so that's very, very encouraging stuff. He's just been looking very, very good out there. Even when he's taking taking on some, slightly better teams. Things have not, not a lot of bumps in the road this season for Aaron Nola, and it's not like he's going up against a monster team in this one either. The Phillies bullpen overall has been very good this season. I mean, maybe not quite as dominant as they were early on. They were looking like one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball for a bit, but they're still in the top half of the majors with a 3.97 bullpen ERA. So, while it's not necessarily a lockdown bullpen, it's not one that we're super scared of. And this offense, guys, they can absolutely kill it. I know their last game before the All-Star break looked terrible. They scored 3 runs against the A's. Yikes, bad stuff. But overall, guys, you got Bryce Harper out there killing it. This team is 4th in the majors in runs scored, 3rd in the majors, batting at nearly 260 as a team. They're getting on base at a 331 clip. Their slugging percentage is top 6 in the majors. Like, this is a team that can absolutely light it up. They can put up tons and tons of runs. So, expecting big things from the Phillies here in the second half of the season. And they're taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates, who close things out looking strong, guys. They won 4 in a row to enter the All-Star break in 6 of their last 7 overall. They're 48-48 on the year. There are 6.5 games back of Milwaukee for the top spot there in the NL Central, but things are looking up for the Pirates. It's reported that they're going to be handing the ball in this one to Martin Perez, who's 1-5 this year with a 5.15 ERA. He's not coming off the best start, guys. His last start before the All-Star break was back on the 10th, so it's going to have been 9 days since he pitched, which I don't think that's a huge concern, but he didn't have a very good time at Milwaukee. He gave up 9 hits and 5 earned runs over 4 2/3 innings. He did have a very good start against the Cardinals, but the start before that was terrible against the Atlanta Braves. And yeah, just not a guy that I can really trust right now. He hasn't had a great season overall, and the Pirates bullpen, not exactly one that you should have a lot of faith in, guys. They're bottom 5 in the majors with a 4.39 bullpen ERA. That is absolutely terrible. So major concerns for this pitching staff, especially in this in particular game. And their offense, guys, has come alive a little bit. I mean, they've scored 9, 6, 4, 1, and 0 runs over the last few games. Having a great offensive series against the Chicago White Sox, not really too impressive. Even if you end up against one of their good starters, you still get to hit against that bullpen at some point, and that bullpen is terrible. The Pirates offense this year, guys, 21st in the majors in runs scored, 27th in the majors in batting average, 27th in the majors in on base percentage, getting on base at a 299 clip, and yeah, not a very good slugging percentage team either. So big questions about this offense. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Phillies at -134, the Pirates at +125. We've got over-unders on the board of 7.5 or 8. You can find both numbers out there still. The Phillies are 24-18 on the road, so that's pretty solid stuff. The Pirates are 22-24 at home, so nothing really incredible there. You definitely want to be above a 500 team when you're playing at home, and that hasn't been the case for them this season. No major trends towards the over-under for these teams, really. I mean, Philly is a 50-50 over-under team on the road, and the Pirates are just a slight under team when playing at home. But in this game, guys, I love the Phillies -134. This seems like way too cheap of a price. It makes me honestly question if the Pirates are really going to be starting Perez in this game. Like, that seems like way too good of a deal. So yeah, go ahead and give me the Phillies -134. I think they get a win in this game pretty comfortably. If you wanted to take a -1.5, I could definitely wrap my head around that as well. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Cincinnati Reds going on the road to take on the Washington Nationals. The Reds come into this game, they went into the All-Star break off of a loss to the Marlins, but they won 2 out of 3 in that series, and at 47-50 on the year are doing a little bit better than they have at some other points this season. It doesn't hurt that they close things out with the series against the Marlins, the Rockies, and the Tigers. So they did get swept by the Tigers though, so not that easy of a series apparently. But they're going to be handing the ball in this game to Frankie Montas. It's being reported right now he's 4-7 this season with a 4.38 ERA, coming off a pretty bad start against the Rockies, guys. He went 7 innings, gave up 8 hits and 5 earned runs. That's honestly not a terrible start for Montas, but he's had some better ones lately. He had a good start against Milwaukee, had a good start against Boston, and another good one, a very good one actually, at the Cardinals in a game that that his team managed to lose. The Reds managed to lose that game 1-0. So yeah, pretty devastating stuff there. But in general, he's throwing the ball slightly better lately, so we're going to give him a little bit of credit. We're going to give a lot of credit to that Reds bullpen, guys. They're creeping up there. They're now top 5 in the majors with a 3.45 bullpen ERA. That is fantastic stuff, especially considering a lot of their games, half of their games are going to be home games, get played at the Great American Ballpark. This offense has been a bit of an enigma, guys. They did come into the All-Star break hitting the ball relatively well, but like I said, series against the Marlins and the Rockies will kind of do that for you. They're 14th in the majors in runs scored, but 26th in the majors, batting only .231 as a team. They're 20th in the majors in on-base percentage. Not a great slugging percentage team, although those numbers are trending in a positive direction, so we'll definitely give them some credit there. But I've got my questions about this offense, and they're taking on the Washington Nationals, who come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 against the Brewers before the All-Star break. They're only 44-53 on the year, so not a lot of positives, but they're going to be hitting the ball in this game to Patrick Corbin, who's 1-9 with a 5.57 ERA. He's coming off a pretty bad start at the Mets, guys. He went 5 innings, gave up 8 hits and 4 earned runs. So yeah, not exactly somebody that I trust a whole lot right now. I mean, not a lot of positive things for him this season. He's tried his best. He's had a little bit of an upturn lately, I suppose, giving up 4-3, 4-3, and 1 earned runs respectively over his last few games. But we do see the Nationals are 0-4 over his last 4 games, so definitely some questions about him and a few questions about this Nationals bullpen, guys. They're sitting somewhere around the middle of the pack in the MLB with a 4.03 bullpen ERA, which is fine, but not great. So definitely question marks there. I also wonder what this offense is going to do. I mean, they scored 3, 6, and 5 runs respectively in that series against Milwaukee to head into the All-Star break, which that's all fine, don't get me wrong, but over the course of the season, they've been bottom third of the majors pretty comfortably, like batting .239 as a team. Not amazing, but not, not a total disaster, but not good enough to carry this kind of a team to a lot of success. 21st in the majors in runs scored, 27th in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, I've got some questions about how many runs they're going to be able to score. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Reds at -106. We see the Nationals at +100. We've got an over/under of 8.5 in this game. The Reds are 22-22 on the road, so they're a 500 team on the road. That's fine. Washington's only 20-24 at home. Don't love that. No big trends towards the over/under for this game. And in general, if you're forcing me to bet the over/under, I would tend to look towards over 8.5, since neither one of these pitchers is really killing it this season. But overall, guys, I do think I like the Reds -106 a little bit in this one. I don't know if it's enough to end up in the pinned comment. I mean, Patrick Corbin has had some decent outings, and it'll be interesting to see how both of these teams respond to coming off the All-Star break. But yeah, definitely a lean towards the Cincinnati Reds, and you'll just have to keep track of that pinned comment to see if they end up in there. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Tampa Bay Rays going on the road to take on the New York Yankees. The Rays come into this game, they won their last game before the All-Star break and won 2 out of 3 in that series against Cleveland, so that had to feel pretty positive. But at 48-48 on the season, they haven't really achieved what they wanted to achieve this year. They're handing the ball to Zach Eflin in this game. He's 5-6 this year with a 3.99 ERA. He's coming off of an excellent start against the Yankees, and he gets to go right back up against him in this one. He went 7 innings, gave up 4 hits, and only a single earned run. He gave up 2 runs overall, struck out 6, and walked 1. A very, very good outing. He's kind of been alternating good and bad outings. Like, he had a really rough time at Kansas City, but at home against the Nationals, he shut him out over 6 innings. So, some pretty decent stuff. We see the Rays are 3-2 over his last 5 starts. So definitely some good things out there for Eflin. The Rays bullpen has been a big problem all season long, guys. They're somewhere around bottom 8 or 7 or something like that in the majors with a 4.33 bullpen ERA. So that is a definite concern. And the offense hasn't been amazing. I mean, they scored at 2, 2, and 2 runs respectively in their 3 games against Cleveland. So pretty wild. They were able to win 2 out of those 3 games. They're 28th in the majors in runs scored this year and 25th in the majors in slugging percentage. So some pretty big concerns. They're not the worst batting average team, and they're near league average in terms of on-base percentage. So maybe this offense can make a little bit of an uptick, but I'm a bit concerned about them. And going up against the Yankees, it's going to be really interesting to see what they can do. The Yankees, the struggle for them has been to get healthy. They did win 2 out of 3 against Baltimore heading into the All-Star break. When are we going to see this team back at full strength, though? That's the main question. It's been confirmed that Stanton is not going to be back for this game, so that's a pretty big deal. We're seeing Anthony Rizzo is not able to do anything except for some lightweight activity, so he's not going to be back anytime soon, obviously not for this game. So yeah, until those 2 guys come back, we're going to see a very limited version of what the Yankees can actually be. And they're handing the ball in this game to Garrett Cole. He's 2-1 this season with a 5.40 ERA, but a lot of positives in his last outing, guys. It was at Baltimore, so a very tough place to pitch. He went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, and only a single earned run. He struck out 7 and walked 1, so that was definitely his best start since coming off the IL, missing all that time. And yeah, it seems like he's ready to go, and the odds makers seem like they agree. So we're going to expect pretty much a full strength version here of Garrett Cole. And the Yankees bullpen, guys, it hasn't looked as good recently as it did, early in the season, but a 3.46 bullpen ERA has them top 6 in the majors. So not too terrified about this bullpen, especially since they're coming into this game, totally fresh coming off the All-Star break. And the bats, guys, the bats are the biggest concern for me. I mean, they scored 5, 6, and 4 runs respectively in that series against the Baltimore Orioles. Obviously missing Stanton and Rizzo is not great, but you've got Aaron Judge out there, you've got Soto out there. Like, this team has the pieces to put up some runs. They're first in the majors with 488 runs scored this season, 4th in the majors getting on base at a 329 clip. They're also 4th in the majors in slugging percentage, and this is all missing those big bats for a little bit. So, we'll see how well they're able to hold on, but I'm expecting some pretty decent things from the Yankees. And looking at the numbers for this game, the odds makers are 2 guys. We've got the Rays at +160, the Yankees at -178. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. Tampa Bay is 21-21 on the road. The Yankees are 25-19 at home, so not necessarily a dominant home team. Not a lot of big trends towards the over-under. We see Tampa Bay 21-20-1 to the under on the road. The Yankees are 23-20-1 to the over at home. Looking at the number, the over-under of 8, I do think there's some reason to go with the under because of Eflin's recent success against the Yankees and Cole looking so good recently. In general, in this game, guys, I'm tending to look towards the Rays. They're going to be the more desperate team in this spot, and at plus 160 with a guy out there on the mound that has lots of success against the team that they're going against, that all seems good. I also tend to believe that a loaded Yankees roster is going to come back a little bit flat from the All-Star break. So, yeah, go ahead and give me the Tampa Bay Rays plus 160 in this game. Are we going to ride this hunch all the way into the pinned comment? I'm not sure yet, but I would say it has a chance. Moving right along here, guys, we've got the Detroit Tigers going on the road to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. The Tigers went into the All-Star break winners of 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, so that had to feel pretty nice. 47-50 on the year leaves them with a lot of work to do still, but they're handing the ball to Jack Flaherty in this game. He's 6-5 this season with a 3.13 ERA, coming off of a very good start against the Cleveland Guardians. Guys, he went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, and only a single earned run. He gave up a home run in that game, but he struck out 4 and walked 2 in a game that we eventually saw the Tigers win 10-1. So very, very positive stuff there. We also see that the Tigers are 4-1 over his last 5 starts. He's been very, very good recently. I do think having this time off will only have done him good. I don't think we have to worry too much about him coming out and looking, not too sharp, but you never really know how a long break is going to affect guys like that, but I'm expecting good things from Flaherty. What do we really expect from the Tigers bullpen? Well, guys, they've actually been, around MLB average, maybe slightly below. Not an elite bullpen, definitely a bullpen that we worry about a little bit when we see them come into the game, but Flaherty's been so good. If he can give him 6 solid innings, like you would think that the bullpen could find a way to muddle through 3. The offense has been a problem for the Tigers all season long, guys. They've scored 4, 11, and 3 runs respectively over their last 3 games. Not that matters too much since, we're coming off the All-Star break, but still, this team is 18th in the majors in runs scored this season, but only 24th in the majors in batting average, 26th in the majors in on-base percentage. Like, not a lot of positives for this offense. I mean, Riley Green is a monster, don't get me wrong, but other than that, just not too excited about anybody they're running up there at the plate. The Toronto Blue Jays come into this game 44-52 on the season, so we'll see how they fare in this one against the Tigers. They did finish things off, in their first half of the season with a win at Arizona. They won 8-7 in a crazy one, but at 44-52 on the year, not where they want to be. They're handing the ball in this game to Chris Bassett. He's 8-7 this season with a 3.52 ERA, coming off a serviceable start at the Giants, guys. He went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits and 3 earned runs in a game we eventually saw the Blue Jays win 10-6. Toronto is only 2-3 over his last 5 starts. That's not ideal, but he's faced some pretty tough opponents. I mean, going up against the Giants, the Astros, the Yankees, and twice against the Red Sox, that's pretty tough. And when you're pitching for a team like Toronto, not a ton of good things happening. Their bullpen has been one of the worst in the majors with a 4.91 bullpen ERA. That's actually second worst in the MLB. So cannot trust this bullpen, and you can't really trust this team to put up a lot of runs either. I mean, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has done some decent things this season, but with only 14 home runs at this point and batting .288, like, just not enough to carry this offense. I mean, they're 20th in the majors in batting average, 24th in the majors in slugging percentage, not scoring a lot of runs. Like, this is an offense I have a lot of questions about. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Tigers at plus 106, the Blue Jays at minus 110. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this one. Detroit is 23-26 on the road, so that's not great, obviously, to below 500 on the road, but that's kind of expected, and they're a below 500 team anyway. And Toronto is 21-24 at home, so, not a great home team and not a great team in general. In terms of trends towards the over-under, we do see Detroit is a 26-21-2 team to the over when playing on the road, and Toronto is 23-21-1 to the over at home. So I definitely tend to lean towards that over 7.5. I think there could be some value there, but I think getting the Detroit Tigers at plus 106 with Flaherty on the mound is too good to pass up, guys. I think this is an excellent spot for Detroit to get off to a good start to the back half of the season, and with Flaherty on the mound, seems very reasonable to me. Next on the docket, guys, we're the New York Mets going on the road to take on the Miami Marlins. The Mets come into this game fresh off of a loss. They headed into the MLB All-Star break after a loss, but they had won 5 in a row before that and had a crazy first half of their season where they looked like one of the worst teams in the MLB and then turned it around to look like one of the best. They're 49-46 this season, handing the ball to Sean Manaea in this game. He's 6-3 overall with a 3.46 ERA. He went into the All-Star break fresh off of a very good start against the Rockies, obviously not the toughest opponent, but still 7 innings, 5 hits, and 3 earned runs, and 9 strikeouts against any team is pretty decent stuff. We also see the Mets are 4-0 over his last 4 starts, so very positive things there. Manaea has been looking very, very serviceable this season. The last time he faced the Marlins was in May. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, and looked pretty solid in a game the Mets won 7-3. So pretty good stuff there from Manaea. The Mets bullpen has had plenty of issues this season. They're sporting a 4.23 bullpen ERA, but they've been a bit better, over the last, I would say, 20 or so games. So some positive things there. Not necessarily a lock them up and, they're going to be fine every time they get handed a lead, but, decent things from this bullpen. I don't mistrust them too much, and the offense has definitely turned around there in the, towards the All-Star break. I mean, that like 20 or 30 games spread where this team has just been so much better. They're up to 8th in the majors in runs scored. They're 10th in the majors in batting average. They're 7th in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, this team is getting it done at the plate, so they're hoping they can keep things rolling here, going up against the Marlins, who come into this game fresh off of, they did go into the All-Star break off of a win, but at 33 and 63 on the year, not exactly having a great time out there. They're hitting the ball to Edward Cabrera in this game. He's 1-3 this season with an 8.26 ERA, coming off getting absolutely shelled at the Cincinnati Reds. 3 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 7 earned runs. He gave up 4 home runs in that game, and now you're about to go up against the Mets. That is a pretty scary proposition. So definitely worried about that. Also worried about this Marlins bullpen a little bit, but not as much as you would think, guys. It's pretty much a league average bullpen with a 3.96 bullpen ERA, so that's fine. But yeah, definitely not a dominant bullpen. Definitely not one that we think we can super lock in to do well. And this offense you can pretty much lock in to do poorly, guys. They're 29th in the majors in runs scored, 29th in the majors in slugging percentage, and they're also second to last in on base percentage, getting on base at a 284 clip. So we're not going to spend a ton of time talking about this offense, guys. It is straight up not very good. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Mets at -130, the Marlins at +116. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. The Mets are 22-20 on the road, so above 500 on the road. That's pretty nice. Miami is 18-31 at home. That is pretty awful. So we're definitely leaning pretty hard towards the Mets at -130 on the road in this game, but there's another lean in this game that we also like. We see that the Mets are 26-13-3 to the over when playing on the road this season. That's an MLB best to the over mark on the road. So that's pretty solid if you want to look at the over. And we also see the Marlins are a crazy 33-14-2 to the over at home. That's an MLB best to the over at home. Guys, we are definitely taking the over 8 in this game. It could be a game where we bet both of these things. I mean, I love the Mets -130, but I really love over 8 in this one. I think we're going to see plenty of offense from the Mets. Not very excited about what we're going to see from Cabrera at all. I don't super trust either one of these bullpens, so we're going to see offense late in the game too, I believe. So yeah, give me over 8 in this one, and definitely a decent look here at the Mets -130. Cruising right along here, guys, we're looking at the San Diego Padres going on the road to take on the Cleveland Guardians. The Padres went into the All-Star break definitely floundering. Not a great sign, guys. They're 50-49 on the year, have not had the season they were projected to. They're handing the ball in this game to Matt Waldron, who's 5-8 this season with a 3.71 ERA. He's coming off a mediocre start against the Braves. He went 7 innings, which is nice, but 6 hits, 4 earned runs, and 2 home runs in that outing. Not ideal. He also only struck out 1 hitter in that whole game. So yeah, just not a ton of amazing things for me to say here about Matt Waldron. I mean, the dude's been battling out there occasionally, but just not somebody that we have a crazy amount of faith in. And this bullpen, guys, the Padres bullpen also has not been amazing. They're in the bottom half of the league for sure with a 4.18 bullpen ERA. So just not in general a pitching staff we can really trust. The offense has been good, but down the stretch, guys, they really were fading a little bit. I mean, they scored 3, 4, 1, 0, and 3 runs respectively over their last few games. They're 11th in the majors in runs scored and 2nd in the majors in batting average. But yeah, just not an offense that I feel like I can really trust at this point. Like, they have had plenty of issues, plenty of ups and downs. I'm not 100% sure whether we're going to see Fernando Tatis play in this game. It's, he wasn't slated to take part in any of the All-Star game festivities, and that was all, to make him come back from that quadriceps injury. So we'll see what ends up happening out there after the All-Star break. I would tend to think we'll fairly be likely to see him out there, but yeah, if you guys have some concrete evidence on that, let me know down in the comments, because I personally am not 100% sure if we're going to see him out there. I don't really know how much his absence or presence in this game really moves the needle for me, though, because they're going up against the Cleveland Guardians, who are 58-37 on the season. They didn't come into the All-Star break playing that well. I mean, they lost 4 out of their last 5, but for a team that's pretty good, I don't think they were too worried about that. I mean, they've got a 4.5 game cushion there in the AL Central, and they're just a very good team overall. They're handing the ball in this game to Tanner Bybee, who's 7-4 this season with a 3.77 ERA. He's coming off a decent start to end his, his first half of the season, guys. He went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits and 4 earned runs at the Detroit Tigers in a game we eventually saw Cleveland lose 5-4. So that's not great, but man, over his last 5 games, it's been pretty good stuff. He did have a hiccup there against the Giants. Not ideal in that one, but other than that, guys, in general this season, this young 25-year-old has been very consistent and very, very good. So yeah, not a lot of bad things for me to say about Bibee. He's been a very good young pitcher. Definitely looking like one of the better young pitchers in the MLB right now. And the bullpen, guys, the Cleveland bullpen has been the best in the major leagues basically all season long. A 2.62 bullpen ERA is absolutely crazy stuff. This is a bullpen that you can very, very much trust to figure things out and, yeah, to keep the team in the game, late in the game, anytime. And if they get handed a lead, things are pretty much over with. How often they're going to get handed a lead is kind of up to this offense, though, which has been having a really rocky time headed into the All-Star break. They had scored 0, 4, 0, 1, and 4 runs, respectively, over their last few games heading into there. A lot depends for this offense on how Steven Kwan can set the plate there and how Jose Ramirez can bring them around. They are 10th in the majors in runs scored this season, so that's pretty positive, but 16th in batting average, 11th in on-base percentage. Like, this is a decent offense, but they were not looking like it there, so hopefully, and I think probably this little all-star break will have got them back on track. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Padres at plus 108. We see the Guardians at minus 110. We got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. The Padres are 23-21 on the road, so they're a bit over 500 on the road, so that's nice and everything. But Cleveland is 30-11 at home. They're a dominant home team, so definitely something to take into consideration. We see an over-under of 7.5 in this game. I'm not super interested in that, guys, but what I am very interested in is Cleveland minus 110. I think they're going to have a significant pitching advantage in this game. I'm expecting good things from Bibee coming off of the little break there. And I mean, what are we going to get from Matt Waldron? I have no idea, but in a close game, I definitely trust that Guardians bullpen a lot more. And I don't even know for sure that this is going to be a close game because Waldron hasn't been that great this season. So go ahead and give me the Guardians minus 110 in this one. I think it's an excellent spot for a very good team at home. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the St. Louis Cardinals going on the road in this game to take on the Atlanta Braves. The Cardinals come into this game, well, they went into the All-Star break after splitting a 4-game series there against the Cubs. Not exactly what they had in mind, but at 50-46 on the year and only 4.5 games back of the Milwaukee Brewers there in the NL Central, I think this team is pretty happy, guys. They had some bleak days there early on, but they're figuring stuff out. They're hitting the ball to Sonny Gray in this one. He's 9-6 this year with a 3.34 ERA. And man, for this poor guy, that All-Star break couldn't come soon enough. He looked absolutely lights out early in the season. The occasional hiccup in there for sure, but not very many, and didn't really close things out the best. I mean, he had a start against the Reds where he gave up 6 runs. Only 3 of them were earned, but then a start at Washington where he gave up 5 runs. They were all earned, and then his last start, guys, was back on the 12th against the Cubs. He went 7 innings, gave up 9 hits, and 3 earned runs in a game the Cardinals eventually lost 5-1. So not his best stuff. This guy is definitely capable of being an absolutely dominant starter, and he's shown it this season. So we'll see what we get from him here in the second half of this year. But yeah, I think the All-Star break was much needed for him. The All-Star break was not really needed there for the Cardinals bullpen, guys. They're top 8 or 6 or something like that in the majors with a 3.50 bullpen ERA, which is very impressive considering where this bullpen was at some different points during the early goings this season. But man, they've really come alive and are looking very solid out there. So good things right now for this bullpen and kind of for this pitching staff in general. The offense has been a work in progress effectively all season long. I mean, in their series against the Cubs, they scored 3, 5, 11, and 1 run respectively. So nothing too crazy there. They're 23rd in the majors in runs scored, 13th in the majors in batting average. They're 20th in the majors in slugging percentage. Really, the question for this team is what can their veteran hitters do? Like, what can Arenado, what can Goldschmidt do out there? I mean, things haven't been smooth sailing for them this season, but we'll see if those two guys can come alive. This offense could actually end up being pretty decent, and if they could get a 2 MLB average or a little bit above MLB average, this could be maybe not a scary team, but a pretty solid team. And we'll see what they can do here going up against the Atlanta Braves, who won 2 out of 3 against the Padres at the Padres. In fact, heading into the All-Star break, they're 53-42 on the season. Handing the ball in this game to Spencer Schwellenbach, who's 3-4 this season with a 4.43 ERA. He's looked crazy good over his last 2 starts, guys. His last time out was at the Padres. He went 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, and only a single earned run. I mean, this 24-year-old is looking like a beast right now. The start for that against the Phillies, a very tough team, guys. He went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, and only a single earned run in that one while striking out 6 and walking 0. So very good things here from Schwellenbach. He's looked solid out there, but not nearly as solid as this Braves bullpen has looked, guys. Second in the majors with a 2.94 bullpen ERA is absolutely crazy stuff. So they'll definitely take that. Things are looking good for this pitching staff in general. The offense, though, guys, the offense has kind of deserted them. They're down below MLB average in most of the major categories. I mean, they're 19th in runs scored still, but that's not a number that's trending in a positive direction. 17th in the majors in batting average. Like, Ozuna had to really carry the load for this team, and he kind of still does, and that's a tough task for somebody. So we'll see what they can do. 23rd in the majors in on-base percentage. So yeah, it could be a little bit tough for them here going up against a guy like Sonny Gray. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Cardinals at plus 150, the Braves at minus 170. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. The Cardinals are a 500 team on the road. No shame there. Atlanta is 29-17 at home, so that's very solid. We also see both teams showing trends towards the under. Atlanta is 29-16-1 to the under when playing at home, and the Cardinals are 24-21-3 to the under on the road. And with two very good starters out there, guys, I really wouldn't blame you if you took under 7.5. That's not a bet that I'm usually super interested in, but I do think it's possible. Also, something I think is very possible, given that the odds makers are expecting this to be a low-scoring, close game. We've got two very good bullpens out there. I don't think you would be crazy to take the Cardinals plus 150 in this spot. I don't think this is going to make it into the pinned comment. I'm just taking this lean as, something that seems reasonable given that this is going to be a low-scoring game, but I do think the value in this one is on the Cardinals plus 150 or that under 7.5. Moving right along here, guys, we've got the Baltimore Orioles going on the road to take on the Texas Rangers. The Orioles come into this game fresh off of a desperately needed 6-5 win there over the Yankees to go into the All-Star break on something of a positive note. My God, did this team need the All-Star break. They were skating hard. They had lost 5 in a row before that one and just hadn't been having a great time down the stretch here. They are 58-38 on the year, so nothing too major to be concerned about. They're handing the ball to Corbin Burnes in this game. He's 9-4 this season with a 2.43 ERA. His one inning in the All-Star game looked pretty solid. He did not look amazing in his outing against the Cubs. Before that, he went 6 innings, gave up 9 hits and 3 earned runs back on the 10th, so he's looking to bounce back a little bit. Obviously, he's been very good over the course of the season, but his last couple of starts, I mean, he's looked a little bit gettable, so we'll see what we get out of Corbin Burnes in this game. We'll also have to wait and see what we're going to get out of this Orioles bullpen that hasn't been the same lately, guys. They're down to middle of the pack with a 3.83 bullpen ERA, which is not the norm for a team that's been one of the better bullpens in Major League Baseball for the majority of this season, but not so much lately. The bats also just disappeared for this team down the stretch, guys. They've scored 6, 1, 1, 0, 0, and 2 runs respectively over their last 6 games there before the All-Star break. So I do expect this power outage to kind of end. I mean, Gunnar Henderson, obviously a monster. This team is 5th in the majors in runs scored, 1st in the majors in slugging percentage, 9th in the majors batting .253 as a team. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to, get after it a little bit here in the second half of the season. We'll have to wait and see, though. We'll see what they do here going up against the Texas Rangers, who won their last 2 games in a row heading into the All-Star break at 46-50 on the year. They've got a lot of work still to do. They're hitting the ball to Nathan Eovaldi, who's 6-3 this season with a 2.97 ERA, so he's been very good. We also see that the Rangers are 4-1 over his last 5 starts. His last time out, he did give up 8 hits in 7 innings to the Astros, but he only gave up a single earned run and struck out 7 while walking 0 in that outing. He actually hasn't walked a batter in his last 3 starts, so yeah, crazy stuff here from Eovaldi. He's been looking very good. He hasn't faced Baltimore this season, so nothing to be gleaned from that, but in general, he has looked excellent. The Rangers bullpen, on the other hand, excellent seems a bit strong, guys. They are bottom 6th in the majors with a 4.35 bullpen ERA. So not exactly a bullpen you can trust, even if Eovaldi is able to hand them a lead. Yeah, going to be a bit tough. The Rangers offense scored 4, 2, and 3 runs respectively in that series against Houston to go into the All-Star break. They're a pretty middle-of-the-road offensive team, guys. 17th in the majors in runs scored, 17th in the majors in on-base percentage. Getting on base at a 311 clip, that's not a disaster. A slugging percentage of 382, though, is not great. Just not an offense that I'm really able to trust to put up a lot of runs, especially against a good pitcher. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Orioles at minus 154, the Rangers at plus 140. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. Baltimore is 28-16 on the road. That's an MLB best road mark. The Rangers are 24-21 at home, so that's not terrible. We do see that, we've got some trends to look at here for the over-under. We see the Rangers are 30, 13, and 2 to the under at home. That's an MLB best number to the under at home, so that's something to look into. But Baltimore is a very good over team on the road. They're 25, 16, and 3 to the over on the road. So in general in this game, guys, not really sure which way to go. This is going to be a very small lean for me. I slightly think we see the Orioles go on the road and get the job done here, possibly late against that Rangers bullpen. So I guess give me the Orioles minus 154, but not too much interest in this one for me. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we've got the Chicago White Sox going on the road to take on the Kansas City Royals. The White Sox come into this game losers of their last 4 in a row. Obviously not having a great team. A lot of their, solid starting pitchers are garnering plenty of trade interest. We'll see if they're actually interested in doing anything there. They're 27-71 on the year. Handing the ball to Chris Flexen in this one. He's 2-8 with a 4.82 ERA. Yeah, his last start against the Pirates was pretty decent. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, so decent stuff there. But, he's had his hiccups this season. He's been okay. He's been one of the, decent White Sox starters, but man, it's tough to put up good numbers for the White Sox right now. Things have been pretty bleak. Their bullpen has been part of that problem, guys. A 4.72 bullpen ERA is absolutely atrocious. Bottom 3 in the majors, and this has been pretty comfortably the worst offensive team in the majors this season. Dead last in runs scored, dead last in on-base percentage, and dead last in slugging percentage. So not a lot of positives there, a lot of negatives for the Chicago White Sox this season. They're taking on the Kansas City Royals, a team that had some very high highs at different points this season, but didn't really close things out the best. They did lose their last 2 games heading into the All-Star break at Boston, but they're getting to start things off at home in this one. They're 52-45 this season, handing the ball to Michael Wacha, who's 6-6 this year with a 3.83 ERA. He's coming off a mediocre start at the Cardinals, his old team. I mean, he went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits and 4 runs. 3 of them were earned. He did give up a home run in that one, but in general, guys, recently he's been very, very good. So maybe we'll see something of a bounce back from him in this one, going up against those weak White Sox hitters. I definitely could see Wacha putting up some crazy strikeout numbers in this game or something like that if you guys are trying to look at props and stuff of that ilk. But in general, guys, the Royals bullpen has been a big concern lately. A 4.21 bullpen ERA is not great. This is a bullpen that's been good at different points this season, but man, over the last, I would say 30 or so games, things have not looked amazing. And kind of the same thing goes for the offense. The offense has kind of disappeared a little bit. I mean, we've got Bobby Witt Jr. out there killing it, but overall, guys, this team being 13th in the majors in runs scored, that's a number that's trending down. They were as high as like 4th or 5th at some different points, and 11th in the majors in batting average, 21st in the majors and on base percentage. Like, I've got some question marks about this offense. The good news for them is that they're playing at home in this one, and look at the numbers. We've got the White Sox at plus 168, the Royals at minus 198. We've got an over-under showing of 9 or 8.5 out there. The White Sox are 10-37 on the road. That is an MLB worst road mark. We see the Royals are 31-18 at home. That's pretty encouraging stuff. I mean, we've got the White Sox are 25-20-2 to the over on the road, so that's interesting. But Kansas City's 26-23 to the under. I'll be honest, guys, not super interested in this over-under. I mean, I could see taking under 9 as a possibility in this one, but overall, I kind of like the Royals minus 198, or even I could be talking into taking them minus 1.5. I mean, that seems a bit tough going up against Flexen, who's not a terrible pitcher, but the White Sox bullpen is pretty awful, and this is definitely a team that has to know its season is effectively, not a waste of time, but, like kind of wasted. So, yeah, I could see them kind of giving up in this game. Not sure if there's a ton of value to be had in this one. Give me the Royals minus 198 or minus 1.5, but this is not going in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we got the San Francisco Giants going on the road to take on the Colorado Rockies. The Giants come into this game fresh off of a 3-2 win there over the Minnesota Twins to go into the All-Star break on a positive note. They won 2 out of 3 in that series, but at 47-50, they've got some work to do this year. They're handing the ball to somebody on their starting rotation, I would assume, but we don't know who yet. In terms of, what their pitching staff has looked like in general this season, the starting pitching has not been amazing. I mean, they're 23rd in the majors with a total bullpen ERA of 4.41. They're 28th in the majors, allowing an opponent batting average of 260. Like, that is not amazing. And they've only had 29 quality starts this season, which is 23rd in the majors. So a little bit concerned about the pitching situation here for the Giants. It hasn't exactly all been, unicorns and butterflies. I mean, the bullpen, guys, is down in the bottom, guys. They are, 6th from the bottom or something like that in the majors with a 4.32 bullpen ERA, so that's obviously very concerning. And in terms of offense, they've scored 3, 2, 7, and 3 runs respectively over their last 4 games. They're 15th in the majors in runs scored, 17th in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, this is a very, very middle-of-the-road offensive team, not one that you can trust to put up a ton of runs. So, yeah, definitely some concerns for me about what we're going to get from this offense in general. And yeah, I mean, they're going up against the Colorado Rockies, so maybe you get something going here. The Rockies are 34-63 in the season. They did head into the All-Star break off of a win against the Mets, but they're handing the ball in this game to Cal Quantrill, who's 6-7 this season with a 4.13 ERA. Coming off a start where he only lasted 2 innings at the Cincinnati Reds, he gave up 4 hits, 5 earned runs, and 2 home runs in that outing. So, yeah, not a lot of great things for me to say about Cal Quantrill, and obviously not a ton of great things for me to say about the Colorado Rockies bullpen that is sporting a bullpen ERA of almost 6. Yeah, you heard that right, guys. A 5.83 bullpen ERA. Pretty rough stuff. This offense is going to have to create a ton of runs to carry that kind of pitching, and they haven't been doing that this season. 20th in the majors in runs scored, 22nd in the majors in on-base percentage, and that's for a team that gets to play half of its game at Coors Field. So, Not a lot of great things to say about this one. Looking at the numbers, we see the Giants at minus 166, the Rockies at plus 160. We've got an over-under of 10 in this game. The Giants are only 19 and 27 on the road. Colorado is 20 and 25 at home. So I do think the Rockies plus 160 is worth a look once we see who the Giants starter is going to be. But yeah, guys, it's a little bit tough to find value in this one and to know for sure if we're interested in this since we don't know who the Giants starter is going to be. But Quantrill has had some decent stuff this season at times, and yeah, the Giants, not the best pitching staff out there. So I do think the Rockies plus 160 is live in this spot. Next on the docket, we've got the Los Angeles Angels going on the road to take on the Oakland A's. The Angels come into this game. They won 3 out of 4 against the Seattle Mariners heading into the All-Star break, but at 41 and 55 on the year, they've got a long way to go. We do not have a confirmed starter for them yet in this game, but this has not been a very good starting rotation, guys. 23rd in the majors in quality starts, 28th in the majors in total earned run average, and yeah, I mean, they are 16th in the majors in batting average against, so that's not, not the worst, but in terms of their bullpen, guys, the bullpen has been pretty mediocre. They're 4th from last in the majors, so 26th, in the majors with a 4.53 bullpen ERA. So yeah, pretty weak stuff there from the Angels pitching staff, and yeah, things have not been much better for the for the old offense. It's been a bit rough, guys. They're 26th in the majors in runs scored, 24th in the majors in on base percentage. They did hit the ball all right in that series against Seattle, scoring 3, 2, and 6 runs respectively, but they did lose game 1 of that series 11-0. So yeah, just not an offense or really a team that we're super high on. They're going up against the Oakland A's in this series. The A's went nuts, winning 18-3 in their last game before the All-Star break, but at 37 and 61 on the year, not killing it, guys. I mean, they're hitting the ball to JP Sears. He's 6-7 this season with a 4.56 ERA. He's coming off a great start at the Red Sox. He went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 4 hits, only a single earned run in that one. Honestly, his last 3 starts have all been very, very reasonable. So we've seen good stuff from him recently, and one of those starts was against the Angels where he went 5 innings, gave up 2 hits and no runs in a game we eventually saw the A's win 5-0. So that's pretty interesting in this one since he's getting to, run it back against the same lineup. And the Oakland A's bullpen has been better than you would have expected, guys. They're easily in the top half of the majors. What are they, 8th or 10th or something like that, with a 3.66 bullpen ERA. So this bullpen has been sneakily improving, and the offense coming off a game where they scored 18 runs. They scored 18, 5, and 6 runs in that series at the Phillies. So looking quite a bit better. And in their last series against the Angels, they won 5-0, 5-0, and 7-5 in a series sweep. So yeah, kind of crazy stuff there. This has been an amazing offensive team this season, obviously, but they are 18th in the majors in slugging percentage and 24th in the majors in runs scored. So we could see some decent stuff from the A's. And in general, in this game, guys, I kind of like them. We're going to have to see who the Angels eventually hand the ball to in this one, but the Angels are minus 106. The A's are plus 100. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this game. Yeah, guys, I mean, the Angels are only 19 and 26 on the road, a pretty bad road team. Oakland is 22 and 25 at home, so they're trying to put it on for the home fans. Not a lot of major trends towards the over-under in this game, so I'm not very interested in that over-under of 8.5, but guys, go ahead and give me the Oakland A's plus 100. I think this is a very reasonable chance this ends up in the pinned comments. So yeah, keep a close eye on the prices there for the Oakland A's. I think it's some pretty good value. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Boston Red Sox going on the road to take on the LA Dodgers. The Red Sox come into this game. They won 3 out of their last 4 heading into the All-Star break. They're 53 and 42 on the year, 4.5 games back of Baltimore there in the AL East. They're handing the ball to Nick Pivetta, who's 4-6 this season with a 4.18 ERA, coming off a mediocre start there against the Oakland A's, guys. He went 6 2/3 innings, gave up 6 hits and 4 earned runs. He struck out 10 hitters in each of his last 2 games, so solid stuff there. But when your last 2 games were against the Marlins and the Oakland A's, let's not freak out too much here. So yeah, we've been seeing a mixed bag there from Pivetta. We've also been seeing kind of a mixed bag from the Red Sox bullpen. They're down to like 10th or 12th in the majors with a 3.67 ERA, not where they've been at other points this season. So some concerns there. The bats have been okay. They've scored 5, 1, and 7 runs over the last 4 games. So 12th in the majors in runs scored, top 5 in batting average, top 5 in slugging percentage. Like, this is an offense that can get some things done. So we don't feel terrible about this offense, but we'll see how they do here against the Dodgers, who come into this game floundering. They went into the All-Star break not having a great time. They actually lost 6 of their last 7 games to fall to 56 and 41 on the season. Still got a 7-game cushion there in the NL West, but they're handing the ball to Gavin Stone in this game, who's 9-3 this year with a 3.26 ERA. He's coming off a debacle of a start at the Phillies, guys, straight up not having a good time out there in either of his last 2 starts. So we've got some questions. It seems like he probably needed that break. He had that 9-inning outing there against the Chicago White Sox. So yeah, maybe a little bit of a cautionary tale against leaving your guys out there too long. It seems to be a bit sketch. He hasn't faced the Red Sox yet this season. No big shocker there. In general, the Dodgers bullpen has been excellent. Top 4 in the majors with a 3.42 bullpen ERA, so that's fine. The questions for this team kind of surround where their offensive production is going to come from when it's not Shohei Ohtani. So yeah, I mean, in terms of health, they really need to get Mookie Betts back. We don't know when exactly that's going to be happening. Jason Hayward is still there on the 10-day IL, so yeah, I mean, we don't know when that's going to happen. Mookie Betts, he's started to feel softly hit ground balls, so yeah, that's not exactly, not the updates you want to hear. You want to hear that he's up there swinging the bat and all that kinds of good stuff, so he's not going to be back for this game. He'll be back at some point though, so we'll see him out there eventually. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Red Sox at plus 125, the Dodgers at minus 136, over under of 8.5 in this game. Boston is 29-17 on the road. That is a startlingly good road mark. The Dodgers are 28-18 at home. That's also pretty solid. We see both teams showing some semi, reasonable trends towards the over right now. I mean, Boston at 24-19-3 to the over on the road. The Dodgers 26-19-1 to the over at home. So if you wanted to take over 8.5, I feel like that's in play. I also tend to lean towards the Dodgers minus 136 here coming off the All-Star break, but we'll see what we actually get. Is this one going in the pinned comment? I would say it's a bit of a long shot. Last but not least, guys, we've got the Houston Astros going on the road to take on the Seattle Mariners. The Astros come into this game losers of 2 in a row headed into the All-Star break, but at 50-46 on the year, they've got to be pretty pumped about where they're at. They're only a single game back of Seattle there in the AL West after getting off to an absolutely horrendous start. So the Astros pretty much back on track, hitting the ball to Hunter Brown in this game, who's 7-6 this season with a 4.39 ERA. He's coming off a good start against the Rangers. He went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits and 2 earned runs. A nice bounce back after getting absolutely demolished at the Minnesota Twins. So Hunter Brown seems like he's a little bit back on track in this one, guys. The last time he faced the Mariners, he looked very good over 6 innings. The first time he faced them this season, he looked decent over 4 1/3. So yeah, I think we can feel pretty good about him in this matchup, although pretty much every pitcher has to feel good about pitching against Seattle Mariners. The Astros bullpen this year, guys, hasn't been a disaster recently. They're in the top half of the majors with a 3.73 bullpen ERA, so that's all fine and dandy. Not a huge disaster there, and definitely trending in a positive direction after having some struggles early on. The offense, maybe not trending in the most positive direction heading into the All-Star break, but man, when you're 9th in the majors in runs scored, 1st in batting average, 8th in on-base percentage, and 8th in slugging percentage, this is an offense that should be putting up some runs. So we'll see what they can do here against the Mariners, who come into this game at 52-46 on the year, fresh off of losing 3 out of 4 there to the Angels. They're handing the ball in this one to Luis Castillo, who's 8-9 this season with a 3.53 ERA. He's coming off a very good start against the Angels and has looked pretty decent over his last 3 outings, but Seattle is only 2-3 over his last 5 starts, so that's not amazing. The last time he faced the Astros, it was pretty solid back on the 28th of May. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. So, good stuff there. Definitely a positive trend there. That was a game that we saw the Mariners win, but what do we think of this Mariners bullpen right now? I mean, they're doing okay. A 3.66 bullpen ERA. That's a number that's held very steady this season. The problem for this team, as always, is their offense. They've scored 2, 1, 5, 11, and 2 runs respectively over their last few games. They're 27th in the majors in runs scored, 30th in the majors in batting average, 28th in the majors in slugging percentage. This is just not a very good offensive team. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Astros at plus 125, the Mariners at minus 134. We've got an over-under of only 7 in this game. Houston is 20-25 on the road. Seattle is 30-18 at home. 30-18 at home. That's pretty crazy stuff. Some trends towards the under for both of these teams, to be honest. I mean, taking under 7 seems crazy to me, but man, Seattle is 30-16-2 to the under at home. So in general in this game, guys, I do think there's some value on the Astros plus 125 as they continue to just chase down the Mariners here, but are we going to be putting this in the pinned comment? I mean, Castillo was very good against the Astros the last time he faced them. So if you wanted to look at this game as something of a no-run first inning, I could maybe get behind that. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.